Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be talking about some projects you can do in your off season when your garden doesn't need you so much. Let's get to it. So the first suggestion I have for you to do in your off season is to take care of your tools, because you won't really be needing them for months on end, or depending on where you live, could be a couple months, could be more than that. First thing to take a look at is your lawnmower. A lot of people don't flip their lawnmower to their side. Now be careful if you have a gas powered lawnmower. This is electric, but if you have gas power, ensure that you have something on the bottom to collect any oil that may drip out, or just drain the oil completely and drain the gas. Especially drain the gas. You don't want gas sitting in your tank, regardless if you use Stay Built or not, or any other fuel additive. Just drain the gas or run the engine till the gas runs out. And before I clean the bottom of the mower, ensure that you secure the blade so the blade doesn't move while you're cleaning the bottom of your mower. While cleaning the mower, just make sure you get all of the thick remnants of grass clippings from underneath it. You don't want this stuff to hang around because it can hold on to moisture. Especially depending on where you store your mower, it could hold on to moisture and rust out the bottom of your mower. Another thing I like to do is I like to spray my blade with oil. I like to resharpen it and spray it with oil before storing it as well. Another thing I like to do is to sharpen all my tools before storing them for the winter. And I oil all of my tools before the winter as well. Another thing I like to do before the winter comes in is anything under 45 degrees, going into the low 40s or high 30s, I take my water hose, I drain all the water out of it, and I store it in the garage. If you have a higher quality water hose, you might be able to leave it outside, but if it snows where you live, I wouldn't leave any water hoses outside of the house. I'd bring them inside of the garage or your storage shed over the winter. You're not going to really need the water hose anyways during the winter. Another thing you want to take a look at is if you have any, black tape that you're trying to seal a hole, just take the tape off and splice it and mend your garden hoses, especially while there's not much to do in the garden. It's time to really focus on these water hoses. If you have more than one or two or maybe even three, they can get expensive, and you don't want to be buying water hoses every year. About once or twice a year I change out my rubber washers out of my water hoses. It's a good common practice to do with your water hose. If you notice you're having to retighten your water hose over and over and tighter and it's still leaking, most likely it's your washer that needs to be replaced. Also, something to think about is to change your water valve. If your water valve is leaking like this one, it's time to change it. It's also very dangerous because if you live somewhere where it's really cold at night, this could freeze over and it could be a slipping hazard. And also, if you don't live somewhere where it's really cold at night, this can grow moss and you could slip very easily on it, just as much as if there was ice here. So change out your valves. Now, something very important that every gardener should be doing this time of year, late fall, early winter, is layering a thick layer of wood chip mulching, or any kind of mulching would do really. You could use your own leaves or wood chips. So I'll show you right here. Just ensure that you have a thick layer so your soil is not starved, and your microorganisms, earthworms, and everything like that. You don't want to fertilize your trees in the winter so much, but you still need to ensure that your soil is fed. Even though your plants might be dormant for the year, your soil isn't. And also, while it's really slow and your garden doesn't need you that much as it did in the spring, summer, and early fall, it's a good time to do projects that you didn't have enough time to do, such as fixing a shed, going on the roof and painting the chimney, fixing a fence, mending it, If there's a broken board, fixing that too. Whatever you can do to make it easier when spring comes back and now you don't have enough time because you just didn't want to do it because it was winter, too cold, rainy and whatnot, but you had time to do it. Now when spring is in full bloom, you're not going to want to do it because you've been waiting so long for spring to come and you want to mend to your garden instead of mending to side projects like fixing things around the house or around the garden. Like if you had to get rid of a tree stump, the time to do it sometimes is in winter. It's very slow. Maybe tree service companies aren't that busy as they would be in the summer or spring, and they might charge you less of a price. We all hope. But doing things like that, just odd end things to... Lulu's drinking water. Just odd end things to make the transition into spring next year a little easier. Happy gardening, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So, like, share, subscribe. And bye, everyone. I can't remember.